So that is the session. So we start right away. I have named the session Calibrating Your Consciousness. How we can calibrate our consciousness. Sometimes consciousness gets calibrated on its own. So we are not talking about that here. We are talking about calibrating our consciousness consciously. That is when we ourselves calibrate our consciousness. That is what we will be discussing today. So we are I mean all human beings, and we experience various illnesses, troubles, problems in life, at a physical state, at an emotional state. Sometimes we don't understand what is going on in us, but if we think a bit deeply, try to understand what's going on in and around us, it's perhaps pertinent to ask a question. Who experiences the illness, who experiences the inner feeling of illness, or any trouble, any problem, any emotion, fear, grief, or even sadness, anything. Who experiences it? Does the body experience it? Clearly it doesn't, because the body is insentient. In anything that is insentient cannot really experience itself the pain. So then comes so does it register in the brain and then we experience the pain? How does it happen? Or it is through the mind? Can the mind itself experience any thought, any feeling, any memory? uh, is the mind capable of experiencing everything on its own? Or um, does our spirit experience it? Now, clearly, spirit cannot, because the vibration of the spirit, maybe it is our own spirit, but the vibration of the spirit is very different from the body and the mind. So the spirit itself cannot experience anything. So then the question, how does it happen? A very clear answer. So, for example, if we are unconscious, suppose under anesthesia effect or something like that, do we experience the pain in the body? No. Do we experience the emotions in our body? No. Does the brain register anything? Perhaps no. Does the mind feel anything? Again, no. So then, where does it happen? So clearly, it is associated with consciousness, because when we are unconscious, we can't experience it. So only when we are conscious, that is when our consciousness is awake, that is we are aware, then we experience. So experience at any level, whatever we experience, cannot happen without consciousness. Consciousness is awareness. It it, it, it doesn't, it is as in Hindi we call it, or Sanskrit we call it nirakar. So it doesn't have any akar, it doesn't have any form, it is formless, it is infinite, it is totally infinite. It is an infinite energy field, not of your body, of your soul. So that is where you actually feel any kind of a feeling, any kind of an experience. It first comes through consciousness. So it is the consciousness which is responsible for all that happens in our body, mind, or spirit. So this is the starting point of today's session, because without understanding the consciousness and how it is connected with the body, mind, and the soul and the spirit, you will not be able to realize where to heal, what to heal, and when to heal. So if you really want to heal yourself at any level, at a body level, or the spirit level, or the mind level, you have to understand that healing, the whole process is connected to consciousness, the awareness, because nothing else in the body, mind, or spirit can actually lead to the experience that we have when we are going through something. And if you are conscious, then you know it. So consciousness leads to knowingness also. Okay. Uh, Now, next question is, what needs to be healed? This is a very trivial question, but sometimes not so trivial, because many of the patterns that we observe in our body are not directly connected to this life many a times. So many a times, many of our patterns are connected to previous lives, maybe connected deep inside the mind through previous lives, through awareness that has percolated across lifetimes, and we are pretty much unaware, and perhaps even insensitive to what has been going on in our previous lives. So, for example, I knew a small girl in Delhi. One of my very close friends introduced the girl to me. This girl, right from childhood, had a phobia to water. I mean, the phobia for water was so acute that the girl couldn't even go to the basin to wash her hands. So obviously, it cannot be anything related to this life or anything, and it's in the mind. So from where did this come? Where did this? She did not create or build this belief system that, oh, you know what, I need to be afraid of water. I need to be very fearful of water. No. So there was a connection to the past life which got percolated through the spirit into the mind this in this birth. So these kind of things can happen. Rare, but these kind of things also happen. But what we have in the mind reflects in the body. This is something we find it extremely difficult to believe, especially when it is physical ailment. But the reality is this: just like a sickness, say fever, fever is not itself an illness. Fever is the manifestation of something that is going wrong in our body. So fever, you don't treat fever. Yeah, you can reduce the fever through allopathy medicines like paracetamols and all of that to reduce the fever levels. But fever is actually an outburst, actually manifestation of something wrong in the body. Similarly, when we are talking about healing the body, it is some belief system that is stored in the mind. So if we are able to change that belief system, then perhaps a lot of things can change in the body, mind, emotions, and all of that. Now, when we are talking about that, right in the bottom, if you see the thought process. Thought process is very, very, very important, what we think. And in some of my previous sessions, and I'm sure lot of learned persons on Mavin platform have also spoke about consciousness and thoughts and imagination and vibrations and all of that. And I'm sure all of you who are in this platform are already aware of many of these things. But still, the way we think impacts our body also. Okay. Maybe there is some source of some illness coming into us, but if we don't nurture it, if we don't add fuel, then perhaps the illness will not stay with us. And this is something we fail to understand. We don't agree. We are in a denial mode. So, for example, when we keep on thinking, you know what, obviously I'll be diabetic. My whole family is diabetic. So I'm just waiting for the age when I'll have this sugar problem and diabetic problem and all of that. If that is the thought process, तब तो वो आ गया. Everybody in my family is obese. Obviously, I'll be obese. And I'm having a group of friends who always keep on bitching about others. So I've learned from them. So I also keep on bitching everybody all the time. Belief systems. Belief systems are many times created in the mind because of the environment where we live. And all these systems are the lower level of truth, something that we saw in the previous session that we had on the map of consciousness. I'll refer to the map of consciousness again to come back to that discussion so that you remember what we are talking about. Okay. So you believe in illness and it appears. You, when you are at a low state, then when illness appears, you forget the power of the soul, that your soul has the power to heal you. You don't really believe in that. Now the reversal of the belief system is a bit catchy. It's not so easy because when you're in a low state, I'll come to that map which will help you understand better. When you're in a low state, then you are in a kind of a circuit. closed circuit where you keep on remaining in the low state, just like it's like an orbit. So coming out of the orbit and with a propelling force and moving out of the orbit is not everybody's cup of tea. You need the courage. You need to be brave heart to come out of that orbit, which is very, very crucial. So the first is, as you see down below, you have to cancel your thoughts that leads to negative belief systems. Okay. So now when the thought of I am diabetic comes up, see there it's written, I stop it. So I stop that thought. Cancel, cancel, cancel. And you have to believe what is the truth. The truth is not that you're diabetic. The truth is, I cancel it and I say the truth. And the truth is, I am no longer subject to that. I'm an infinite being. I don't deserve this. So when you cancel, then things start happening because it starts hitting your awareness. From the awareness, it hits your mind, spirit, and body. Lastly, okay. So I'm sure the immediate thought that is coming to your mind is, oh my God, how can that be true? The truth is actually that I am suffering. This is a bit dichotomous. There's a dichotomy there. Now, if you keep on saying I'm suffering, then you will keep on suffering. Change the thought, change the mind, change the truth. The truth is you don't deserve to suffer. So if that is the truth, truth is not short-lived. Truth is not for a minute. Truth is not for 10 minutes. Truth is not yesterday, today, tomorrow. Truth is infinite. So what is the infinite truth? The infinite truth is that I am an infinite being. I have the power to stop anything wrong that is happening in my body, mind, and spirit. Start believing that and call that the truth. Once you call that the truth, it will manifest. Believe that you are an infinite being, it will manifest. Believe the power of your soul, it will manifest. The reverse process will start happening. And the main story there is to let go of the resistance. Now it's easier said than done, because many a times what we it's the turmoil between the left brain and the right brain also. The right brain says logic, logic, logic. See the logic there. You are actually suffering. You are in a bad state. You're having fever. You have a body ache. You have a heart problem. The X-ray says that. The ECG says that. What rubbish are you saying? This is what your brain keeps on hitting you. So it is very easy to fall prey of that and say that I'm diabetic, I have a health issue, I have this, goes on and on and on. And one illness attracts the other. And you enter into a whirlpool like that. So this is the map of consciousness. This is the map of consciousness, and I would like to bring your focus to something called the emotional state. As you see, the third column. Sorry, the first column. The first column, name of the level. Come to the bottom. If you come to the bottom, you will see these are the lower forms of emotions: shame, guilt, apathy, despair, grief, fear. These are all the sensations, all the emotions that are directly connected to the physical state of being. It is not just the emotion. Emotion connects to the body. Okay. Now, how we connect the emotion to the body? Just 1 second. Just one. Sorry. So, what we discussed in the previous session is when you are in this whole circuit. I call it a circuit because it's kind of, it goes on and on and on. When you're in a state of grief, apathy, guilt, and shame, then you have a lot of self pity. ओ मैं तो बेचारा हूँ, मेरा तो कुछ हो नहीं सकता, बहुत, मेरा हाल बहुत खराब है. You don't please compare yourself with me. My problem is different. Had you understood what I'm going through, you wouldn't have even spoken about it. Please don't talk. And then I am of no use. All the negative emotions pitch in. It's very disdaining and condemning all the time. Forget about your trust on God, forget about trust on divine and your higher spirit. You don't even trust yourself. You're in a miserable state. And when you are in this miserable state, it is a circuit. Now you need a propelling force to take you out of that circuit. Unless you come out of the circuit, nothing positive can happen. Okay. We will come back to this again. Let's go to the next slide and then we'll come back to this again. Sorry. This is just an example. I have taken the example of stress. Okay. Many of us suffer from stress and anxiety. Stress, anxiety, tension are all, cousin brothers and sisters of each other. So I have just considered stress, but it is the same thing. And if you feel that your environment is responsible for your stress, you are wrong. You are responsible for the stress that you're going through. And it is so simple. I'll give you some examples to explain you why you are responsible for your stress. Consider the pictures up there. The first one, the girl with so many books. The girl feels, my God, I have to study so much, and only then I'll be able to pass my exam. Stress. Now, what is the other side of the story? The other side of the story is, does everybody who is required to study a lot go through stress? No, of course not. There are many people who would love to read those books. But for this girl, it is stress. The next picture and the next and the next. You are in the middle of the ocean and you have to swim. There are people who enjoy swimming and it is a stress buster for them. But for you, my God, if I drown now, what? You know swimming, you swim very well, but you see no land anywhere. It is water, water everywhere. Stress. Will I be finally able to go to the shore? Will I be able to reach? Do I have that stamina? What happens if a shark comes and bites me? What if this? What if that? Same when you're on the top of a cliff of a mountain. My God, it is so frightening looking down there. अगर कोई मुझे पीछे से धक्का मार दिया तो क्या होगा? If somebody pushes me from behind, what will happen? I'll die. For somebody What beautiful scene from the cliff. My God, I can't even believe. As if I'm able to see the whole universe from this cliff. Look at the way our processes change. The accident that you see right in the bottom. अरे मेरा गाड़ी को धक्का मार दिया. Now what I will do? I have to go to the police station. I have to fight. I have to shout at this fellow. Wow, how is this fellow driving this and that? Thousand thoughts, negative thoughts, right? But everybody go through this kind of a stress? And I've lived major part of my life in Bombay. And believe me, every alternate month or every month, somebody will scratch your car, somebody will hit you somewhere, and even if you are not even responsible for it, you are subject to it. So if you keep on thinking negative about that, half of your life is gone there on the roads. What's the way to think? Come on, I have an insurance. जो होना था तो हो गया. Let me fix it as soon as possible. Again, if you talk about an accident, the mechanic, my mechanic, is he doesn't say it ever, but he is very happy when my car hits another car, or when there is a dent or some kind of a scratch on the body of the car. He is very happy because he has business. So whenever there is an accident, not that everybody on earth is under stress. So rightly said, one man's meat is another man's poison. So stress, see, if stress was situation specific, then it would have been true for everybody. But that is not true. So you create a picture of a stress in your mind. It is again a low energy form. And if you're already in a low energy state, if you're already in one of these low energy states, and then when this kind of a thing happens to you, though it adds fuel to the fire. So what needs to be changed when you're in stress is not the experiences, is not what you see, because many people have also seen that it is deep inside you. You have to change yourself, not the situation because of which you are under stress. It depends on what we hold in our mind, the lower forms of emotions. Okay. That leads to stress. So, as we were discussing, what did you focus? When the accident happened, my mechanic thought, wow, now there's an opportunity to make some money. So it's all about the lens that you wear. The lens that you wear, if that is full of dust and color, you see that color. If the lens that you wear is clean and tidy and transparent, it sparks an idea in your mind. Now, many times we face lot of competition, lot of something to prove, like the little girl that we saw there, heaps of book and she has to study. There's pressure from family, from mom and dad. You have to score so much percentage of marks, and this and that leads to stress. So there are people around us who are responsible for creating stress. That is true. But it is me, it is I who take it. This is associated with courage. And you know what? My son taught me this maybe a year back. And he said that if you have the courage, then you should be able to choose what you want to do in life. And if you have the courage and the will force to do what you want to do in life, the whole world will conspire to make it happen. It only doesn't happen when you don't have the confidence that you will be able to do it. The moment you start suspecting your capabilities, all kinds of problems become threats. So it is not about winning. It is not about winning a game. It is not winning a race. Because the moment you win a race, somebody loses. Because the world is a zero-sum game. Somebody's win is somebody's loss. And deep inside your mind, deep inside your heart, you are soft. So if you win at the cost of somebody, there is a deep inside guilt feeling. I'll give you a simple example there. When you're walking on the, say, on the street or in a railway platform, and there's a banana skin there, and one slips and falls down, you'll find so many people laughing and cracking jokes out of it. So this is the concept of winning and losing. So somebody lost to make you win. So somebody is in a precarious state to make somebody else happy and cheerful. I think Charlie Chaplin also said once that whatever is there inside should not be on your face. You should be always smiling. And if you are smiling, the experience of your smile percolates deep inside your experience, and that heals all your emotions. So it's not about faking a smile. It's believing in it. Now the question is, if I go back to that chart again. So first is here, if you see, there's a statement that change reason and change your world. What does this mean? So here, if you see in this chart, if you see, reason comes here. You see reason there, right above. Sorry. Yeah, reason. See reason and integrity on the levels of truth, reason and integrity, and from the top, the first column, from the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there is reason. Do you see that? Now, reason is something very, very interesting. It connects the left brain with the right brain. Okay, now in what way? What form? The left brain and the right brain connects logic with perception, logic with creativity. Reason. Now, if you can create the reason in your mind why you should be happy, why you don't deserve an illness, why it is not a good state of mind, the message percolates from the left brain to the right brain. The right brain creates the picture, the experience in your mind. And it helps changing your attitude, your belief, and embracing the truth. Why am I saying truth? I'm saying truth because, see here, these are the levels of truth. This whole part are the levels of truth, the upper part. So it is actually, if you want to move out of the circuit of low survival level, reason can change it, because reason connects the left brain with the right brain. If you know the reason, then you have an understanding of it. If you have an understanding of it, you act on it. If you start acting on it, you are acceptable, you are accepting it, you are willing to change it, You are neutral to the negativity. And most importantly, you have the courage to change. The courage will not happen automatically. You will just not just from the blue. You will not have the courage to combat or to fight the negative emotions. You will not. You need a reason to do that, because reason is something that connects. Reason is the logic. Why I should do it. If I know that, then things becomes easier. Okay. We were talking about the left brain and the right brain. As you see here, the left brain is in charge of the logic, the interpretation, the analytical mind, and so on. And it is easy to have this analytical mind, the logical mind. We all have it. So it is the connection between truth and falsehood. The lower levels of the map of consciousness, as you saw, represents the levels of falsehood. And the upper part that you saw are the levels of truth. What connects the left brain with the right brain? It is reason. What is falsehood? Falsehood keeps on saying that others are responsible for my situation. All problems that I am suffering from is because of others. Somebody very close to me has passed away. So why am I in grief? Why am I sad? Because of that person who passed away from my life. He is no more in my life. So it depends on others. All levels of falsehood depends on others. Be it stress, be it grief, be it despair, be it guilt. Everything in falsehood depends on others, and truth depends on me. I am responsible for my joy. I am responsible for making me acceptable. I am responsible for my courage. Do you always say that, oh, he was responsible for me being courageous? ऐसा होता नहीं है. That can happen for a spark, not a long time. So freedom is within us, truth is within us. Love manifests itself through freedom and truth. Why detachment? Detachment is because in truth there is no attachment. Why there is no attachment? Because it doesn't depend on others. It is all deep inside me. तो अटैचमेंट का तो सवाल ही नहीं आता. And if the reason to believe something is strong, very, very strong, then you are anyway in the level of truth. If you are in the level of truth, it only leads to unconditional love. It manifests in the form of love. All the higher levels of truth are actually some or the other form of manifestation of love. It is love. It is about forgiving, accepting. See, love has different aspects of belief. It empowers people. You cannot empower somebody. You cannot empower yourself if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't love yourself. You cannot forgive somebody if you hate. You cannot accept a situation if you don't love it. So, what about major illnesses, major crises that many a times we experience in our life? Sometimes life comes to a halt abruptly. We go through emotional turmoil, and as we discussed in the previous slides, also it is like a whirlpool, like a turmoil. and you feel helpless, totally helpless, powerless, and you feel that nothing is now going to change. That is a crisis situation. Now, see, if you consider a crisis situation, it could be somebody in your family suffering from cancer. It could be death of a relative, death of a near one. It could be we suffering from an illness which the doctors say is incurable. Any of these physical illnesses or mental illnesses or something with somebody who's very dear and close to us. Just give me one. I'm so sorry. I had to coordinate something with my son and my driver. Uh, so I'm sorry. So coming back, I'm sure you have read the slide very carefully. It's about how you change your thought process. Everything oscillates, everything hovers around your thought process, your awareness. So if you are able to create the field of consciousness where you surrender all negative energy and stop feeling it, and if you are able to let it go, then the change happens. But most books, right from the book written by that what is his name, who spoke about the miracles. I forget the name. Anyway, some Michael something. I forget the name. Anyway, so all the books, they say that the process of changing yourself is by changing your thought process, is changing your awareness. But how to do it, we don't know. The main way or the most important way to do it is, as I told you, change the reason there. Because reason is something that connects the left brain with the right brain. If you can justify why you should change, then the right brain starts creating those thoughts. Starts believing it. And once it starts believing it, entire thought process changes. And then prayers have magical effect on your life. So prayers are also very important, because if you're in a low state of mind, the language that you use in a prayer is also detrimental, is negative. Oh, that Adnam Sami ka gana hai. I'm sure all of you have heard of that song, Adnam Sami song. That ऐसे वैसे को दिया है, इसको दिया है, उसको दिया है, मुझे मुझे भी कुछ दे दे. That's a prayer, but that is a complaint also. Complaint is a low energy level. It's a state of falsehood. The moment your prayer is not having the positive vibrations, you are actually inviting more trouble to yourself by praying. I'm sorry. If your prayer starts with a disbelief of the divine, you did not give me, you gave him, comparing. Why am I in this state of, please heal my pain? Are yaar, it is not your pain. If you say it is my pain, how will the pain go away from you? It will stay with you because you have given the shelter to the pain and the suffering. On the contrary, if you have a simple prayer where you're just requesting the divine to be with you, to change your life, it works wonders. I'm sorry, every time I shoot beyond, this is something on addiction also I had, which actually is again a very interesting topic of discussion. Addiction is a very interesting topic of discussion because addiction suddenly takes you to a level of falsehood in truth. What does that mean? It means that it helps you to jump few states, levels of falsehood, and directly enter into a state of bliss. So you don't go through the layers one by one. You jump everything and go to a state of bliss. And suddenly you find it is so joyful, it is so attractive, it is so powerful. We call it the mellow effect. Suddenly you find that, oh my God, this is bliss. In anywhere in the on in this universe, if there is moksha, then this is moksha. Actually, it is not the drug. It is not the drug. It is not the smoke. It is not the daru that brings the high. It is your consciousness that brings the high. And to achieve jumping steps of lower levels of consciousness and moving to a state of bliss is called artificial consciousness. You're creating an artificial system around you to temporarily be in a state of bliss. Obviously, when you're not in the influence of the drug, because drug is an agent, is a catalyst to it, the state of bliss is also not there. And then, oh, Arey, kya maza tha, as if it was like a movie theater, you were there. Kya maza tha. What a peace, what a environment, what a scene, what a experience. Again, you're tempted to have it because it pumps up your levels of truth, and that too falsely. Then what happens is you become a servant of that mellow effect. And then you justify yourself. What's wrong in that? So then you are in a level of denial, hopelessness, and despair. Now, to come out of this is important then. These are some levels through which, I mean, we can discuss it sometime later. This is called I have something like a 9 point method of how do you come out of this kind of a situation. How do you really come out of this jumping of steps and come back to the gradual process. Uh, Here again, the main thing that is required is the admittance. Admitting that first and foremost is not the reason here. Here, first and foremost, you have to admit that you have bypassed some 7 steps and now you are in a state of bliss. You have to admit that first, and it is the impact of the drug and not your conscious efforts. So, admitting the state is the first most important. And once you admit, you know the reason why you're admitting it. And once you admit, you will be able to heal and repair the situation and take full responsibility of your consciousness and commitment. And last but not the least in this, I'm sure many of you have heard of AA, Alcohol Anonymous, and so on. What is the way? How do they heal people who are in drugs, who are in poor state? You know what? They make them feel grateful. They make them feel grateful because the divine had given them a chance to be in that state. So it removes all the guilt. There's no guilt that I'm a drug addict. There's no guilt that I'm a drunkard. It is gratefulness to the divine that you gave me this opportunity to learn why I should move out of this. Very few people, unless you're an addict, you don't know what is bypassing all the levels and suddenly moving to bliss. So you got that experience. So now you're thankful to the divine. Now establish the connect. Now establish the truth. Now establish the love. And then healing will happen because your willingness is so strong. You are not surrendering to the truth. You are giving up your ego. That is how the magic happens. Okay, so it is possible to recode for any illness. It is possible. This is something we discussed long time back also in a session on DNA re-encoding, where I said that it is the communication between awareness and your body. You can change your DNA. You can re-encode your DNA through communication, and the communication happens through reason and belief. And if you have the belief, and if you say the right prayers, then your situation all around will change for the better. Okay, these are some of the slides. If you remember, you will be able to understand why we had that session at that time and how it connects to this session. So there are different ways of doing it. You can call upon the higher self, the spirit guide, and ask to give you permission. Permission to whom? Permission to your awareness, your consciousness, to bring changes and to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. That will release the memory, the stored negative memory of dysfunction. All the negative information, all the negative patterns can go from your mind only if you give permission to your awareness, to your higher self, to bring about the changes. Once you do that, then the erasing process will start. And then you will be able to fill with new rejuvenating DNA blueprint in your mind, in your awareness. But before you reinstill a new DNA imprint, you have to first remove the old imprint. Before removing the old imprint, you have to believe that you can. This is a simple prayer that we do, and I would like to close the session with a short prayer. This is a prayer. All of you can join your hands and just be with me. I'll pray. You try to feel each and every word that I utter, and you will see the change in you. If you have any pain right now in your body, body, mind, spirit, wherever it is, you just try to see what is the level of the pain. And now once we chant this, then you can again go back and see where you lie. Okay, so I start here. Try to connect all your 7 chakras, right from the root chakra to the crown chakra, and connect that to the heavens with the light of being, the healing blue light that connects your root chakra right up to the crown chakra and to the divine. I call upon all the healing masters across all my lifetimes, my higher self, my innate self, to support and assist me with my intention. Through spirit, I and my soul give the permission to my innate self to make whatever cellular adjustments are appropriate and necessary in response to my intention of, you can name what you want. Through my higher order spirit, through my innate self, I ask all the cells to release any Akashic record that they have retained that no longer serves me, that no longer serves my health, my vitality, my immunity, my longevity, of my soul's divine purpose in this lifetime. Hence, I ask myself to release the energy of any current or past soul programs, patterns, or residue that has created or contributed to the illness in my physical and spiritual body. Through my innate self, I ask myself to void any previous instructions provided in my biological DNA that led to abnormal cellular functioning and disease. I call my innate self, I call my spirit guides, I call upon my higher self. So to substitute all the old instructions, all the negative information for new ones that promote a state where I am completely healthy and free of all diseases, physical or mental. Therefore, I ask my innate self to extract the blueprints for perfect stem cells containing new information that would be particularly beneficial for me at this point in time and apply this to my DNA. I request the divine to bless me, to heal me, to initiate this DNA re-encoding until it is complete. In response to my deepest intent, I express my heartfelt gratitude to the divine, to the higher spirits. When we are done, release me in love and joy, keeping my energy raised. I, take your name, stand ready for whatever is good for me now. In love and light, I thank my masters, teachers, and loved ones for all their information, guidance, and healing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are done with the session. Uh, I think we rushed a bit, but this entire file will be available online on YouTube. You can go through even the prayer. You can go through. But the point which is most important is You have the power to re-encode your DNA. If you initiate it, it will happen. And so interesting to believe this. But you should have a reason to believe. And as I showed you, the map of consciousness as developed by David Hawkins, you have to be in the levels of truth. Come what may, come what may. I will not come below the level of courage. You have seen courage as the lowest form of levels of truth, because the levels of falsehood is very infectious, very negative. Nobody wants to be in hell. Come on. So it's like always be conscious that my God, अरे ये तो level of falsehood है, इसमें तो नहीं जाना है मुझे. I don't want to go there. And how can I make it happen? Through the rationale, through the reasoning. If I have the right reasoning, things will change. Thank you very much. I'm done. Any questions? I'm ready to take.
Thank you, Debashish. Such a wonderful session.
Thank you, Shabana ji.
And thank you so much. How do you avoid and how do you reason when you're stuck with a turmoil in life and grief?
Yeah, that is what in my session I was explaining, that you have to understand that all the levels of falsehood, in all the levels of falsehood, all the different forms of falsehood actually lies with others. Why? Because if I'm in grief, somebody has created the grief. If I am in a guilt, somebody else has created the guilt in me. If I am suffering from anxiety, oh, that fellow has created anxiety. So first of all, we have to believe that I want to come out of the influence of others. I have to take onus of myself. Now, because of this anxiety, I'm having digestive problem. I have physical manifestations. Who wants it? Come on, nobody wants it. So it is the thought process which has to change. And if you want it, then you have to bring the reasoning in your mind, the way I'm explaining you. I don't want to lead my life because of somebody else's pain. It sounds a bit selfish. But the point is, if you are selfish at this point, you will be able to help the person in a better way. If somebody is suffering from cancer and you are in a very sad state and you are totally drained out, will you be in a state to help that person? Then you create a club of low level truth. Chalo, you are also low, I am also low. Low, 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 all we'll sing a song. Low, 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 low. Fear, the difference between fear and phobia is phobia is worse. Phobia is connected to a particular situation where you have a phobia. Say somebody has phobia towards water, somebody has phobia towards fire, and so on. But fear may not be for a particular thing. Fear could be for several things. Okay, any other questions?
Have you got over any such disease where you have prayed and what you just gave us the simple prayer for cells?
Yes, yes, yes. I had a very strong problem of BP, high BP.
Oh, that I should do that because so do I.
Yeah. So there is a meditation exercise for high BP. So I used to do that. But then, as I was telling, you need to have the reason to change a thought process, because the physical aspect is experienced in the mind much more than any of the non-physical stuff. So of course I'm feeling that I have high BP. So how do I change that? It is not so easy. If I have a burn in my finger, it is not easy to feel that, oh, nothing is there. It is not easy to do that. It is not simple to do that. So the pain is there. You are feeling the pain. So you need a reason to change the thought. So the reason for me was the meditation. I had the right meditation, and through the meditation, I started believing this meditation will change me out of this state and bring me to a different state. Forget about that. You see some of the BBC documentaries. People have healed their spine defects. People have healed their broken femur bone through intentions, positive intentions. I know it is easier said than done, but there is a way, there is a process, and we can do it. Right now, I'm practicing
So
something. Yeah. Yes,
sir,
Aparna.
I just wanted to share that I had back. You said to measure your pain. Now I had backache before doing that affirmation. Right now, I am having no pain at all. I just want to thank you from my heart, and it was wonderful. And the line I got is, "I am responsible. I'm responsible for everything in my life." So I'm going to repeat this line today at least for 100 times. I'm responsible, and I will
Also,
try to find
saying
the
I am responsible several times
reason.
can lead to another problem of guilt. Why did I do this to
Oh,
myself?
okay.
Yeah. So it's
Okay,
better to say I am an infinite being. I don't
okay,
deserve the pain.
okay, okay. Right, right.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So how many times do you recite this and you say you have a pain in the shoulder and
So, Umaji, it is not mathematics. It is not counting how many times. It is about saying it until you start believing it.
okay.
So it is more about the faith and the belief that you bring in yourself. The moment you start believing it, your conscious mind passes the message to the superconscious mind. And if the superconscious mind also starts believing it, the healing happens in the body. And that is all about awareness that we are talking about here.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.